Hello and welcome back to the lead card coverage of round 3 of the 2020 Michigan State Championships. We are looking at the back 9 coming up here, and on the commentator's mic is myself, Zach, along with Donut. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
So happy to have you back in the booth with me. Thanks again to all the sponsors of the event. It's always great to come out and see the states for Michigan every year when we get an opportunity. Taking a look at the front 9 scores, Jeff with the hot front 9 so far. One hiccup with that double bogey, but other than that, has just been scorching that front 9. Puts himself within one stroke of Marweed for the lead. And we're headed into hole 11 now, 260 foot par 3. There's an OB line going all the way along this left side. You can see some white flags, so lots of danger on that left side. And there's an OB cutting behind the basket here through this fairway. There's probably 25 feet, 30 feet past it.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of forehand hyzers from here. You can't see it from where the camber is located, but you can open this up well to the left and throw a big hyzer like Brendan is doing here. This is going to be a really common play with the forehand from our righty players.
That one caught a little bit of foliage. He's on the front side of that bush there. He might be a little contested, but
he's going to be mostly happy with that shot for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Jeff going well over, not quite as wide as I'm sure he would have wanted. Yeah.
He wanted that definitely wider. Couldn't quite get it far enough to the left, but he'll have maybe a putt from there. We'll have to wait and see.
Marweed looking the most comfortable with this shot. This is one of his favorite plays just in disc golf. Landing just long of the pin and rolling super far, well out of bounds.
Luckily for him, he'll just put it just inside that line. He'll probably save his 3. It'll be a pretty well within his range at least to save that 3.
Yeah, it's a 12, 15 footer or something like that. Really easy.
Ian also going to go with forehand and can't quite get past those last couple pine trees. Gets caught up in them. Otherwise, he might have been parked. You can see here Jeff with a tiny little window there. Just try to take his 2 and, almost is able to save his birdie there.
Hits the gap perfectly, but can't quite get the disc at the correct angle through the gap, which is incredibly difficult. Brendan Lucky lefty, laying it way out. Not the most confident putt, but it drops into the basket.
Yeah, he took a good minute to try to decide whether or not he wanted to do that or a dad putt.
Oh, with his arm and disc on the same side instead of going across. Love to see one of those on the camera from the pros, but
I think he made the right choice.
Yeah. Marweed, pretty much a tap-in 3 for Andy.
Jeff here.
Should be a tap-in 3 for Jeff as well.
Yeah.
Jeff really wanted to convert on that putt to steal the final stroke back from Andy, but he's still going to be on the chase coming into our second hole in the back 9.
Yeah, hole 12, 336 feet, par 3. Another OB rope laying out on the entire right side of this fairway. Goes to the right side of that bush up here by the pyramid. You're really just trying to throw something spike hyzer if you're on a righty up towards the basket. There is a drop off to the left side of this pyramid here where you can definitely find yourself with almost no putt at the basket. You'll have to just kind of chip up for your 3.
Yeah, it plays sort of like OB on that left side there. Brendan turning his way over, but with a really overstable disc. Skipping and a little scooting back inbounds. He's going to be pretty happy with that shot. Maybe not for his 2, but definitely an easy 3.
Yeah, no, beautiful pyramid there by Mitten Bag.
Cool looking disc from
Ian
there.
Really pink and swirly. He's throwing big hyzer here. And that's about as perfect as you can do it.
Check out Andy's Mitten Bag right on the top of that poster, too. He's got the little cookie one on top.
Hamilton's is on there as well.
Yeah, I think his is on the back side from where the tee is.
Taking a look at Jeff Bennett's here. This is a little more aggressive from the tee pad. This looked like it was on an ace line, but just a little bit short, and it's going to hyzer into that low ditch there. And he's going to have to maybe see if he can scramble that 3 or maybe have a really up look for a 2.
Yeah, it plays sort of like OB over there, where you have an easy pitch out and then a tap in for your 3. Andy, pretty much going exactly where Jeff's disc is. They landed about 10 feet apart in the woods here, but Jeff lining up like he looks like he can get to the pin.
Floating up and over and does nearly...
That's a good run.
Yeah, does nearly put that in. He'll be right underneath the basket there for his easy tap in.
Andy with the opposite line going real low. He's just laying up for sure. Oh, no, he's not. Oh,
no,
wow.
he was trying to chip that up. It's a tight, sharp angle to get it up there to the basket height, but
Andy's so confident in his comebacker that he doesn't really mind missing that either. Brendan definitely has a look at this. He's inside circle.
oh,
Yeah, Brendan getting a little shook on this elevated basket here.
just a little too low there. Marweed, woo, with a good catch there in spot 9. And Ian looking to tap in his very, very easy.
It's a very easy Ian hole if you're. I mean, you want to be Ian Hamilton
Yeah.
of these 4 guys coming into this hole. Easy backhand, big hyzer, not that far. Just scoot it right up next to the basket for an easy 2.
Yep. Oh, there's Ian
There's
Hamilton's right
Ian's.
there. He's pointing
Oh,
at
he
it.
is on the same side as
Yep,
Andy.
he's got that pink one.
Beautiful.
Head into hole 13, 330-foot par 3. This one has lots of danger for rollaways. Coming off, hole goes from right to left, up and over this hill, and on top of the hill is the elevated basket, and it slopes down the hill on the other side as well. So if you throw it too high and you air it, you're going to go down that hill and have almost no look for that birdie. Or if you hit the hill too early, you're likely to roll down the hill to the right side.
Pro play here is to jam your disc into the hill so it skips up to the basket. You don't want to hit it with too much speed. Real confused lighting here. Ian hitting some foliage. He's going to roll all the way back down the hill. Should be a pretty easy 3 conversion from there, but
There is some trees directly in front of him that can cause a little bit of trouble, but for him, he'll hopefully be able to get through that.
good adjustment from the camera there to get rid of the glare. Here's the problem with attacking the basket is you get a little bit of a skip up
It's
towards the pin.
gone.
And Brennan's 98 to 100 feet long.
Yeah, it's just see ya.
But again, a pretty easy 3 conversion.
Jeff also going high here. Caught one of the last trees he needed to avoid, and he's also going to roll to the bottom of that hill. Again, he'll have to see what kind of gaps he has to try to.
Yeah, super
Yeah.
easy hole to attack. Very difficult hole to actually execute, if that makes sense. Andy just jamming his disc into that bush there,
He's a little
almost to the top of the tree.
Yeah.
So he's going to be right around on circle's edge, but with an extremely obstructed putt. Jeff, easy layup. Really calculated. Ian's going to lay his backhand all the way around this gap, really, really high, and then float it back down to the pin.
Man, he
Using
put
his trusty pole
I
cat
was
for
gonna
his
s-
layups
I was
there.
gonna say every time he throws that polecat, it goes underneath the basket. You should just throw that from the tee, with that kind of logic. He should not actually do that. He's doing. It doesn't always work that way.
Brendan, easy layup as well. No sense running that from deep.
Marweed pushing.
Andy's in front of the bush. Easy run, easy 2. Kind of lucky to be where he was in that bush.
Yeah,
Another 3 feet back, and he's struggling to lay up. Going to see a lot of pars on this hole from the field. Really, really tough to execute, but the danger isn't that bad. Jeff commenting on how the basket isn't quite standing up straight.
yeah, and they had a tournament earlier this year where they had put that basket in place and it was perfectly straight up and down, and just kind of like noticing that it's a little tilted and wasn't sure what had happened there, but they were able to save their par either way and headed into hole 14 now. 253 feet, par 3, pretty short. Straight shot will get you to the basket. That's what you're trying to shoot there. Not a whole lot in your way, and the alley's probably 20 feet wide, but you just got to avoid all the trees and try to get it up there.
This stretch of 5 or so holes really plays a lot different than the rest of the course, where it's still really, really wooded and there's a lot of danger from the tee, but there's not foliage, so the branches don't come all the way to the ground. So all you're trying to dodge are the tree trunks, which is a little bit nicer. The kicks, however, if you do hit those tree trunks, are devastating because you have your discos flying across the fairway.
Right. Ian there throws it into the ground. He's still struggling to try to get back into that rhythm.
Andy didn't quite turn over his blue pig quite enough, but he's going to be just outside circle.
Yeah.
Brendan, is this a Nova?
Yes, it is.
Okay. This disc looks so good out of his hand every single time he throws it. Just a really clean, slow, comfortable release with a decent snap at the end. He went a little long. Jeff going back to the tomahawk. He must not like the forehand line on this play.
And he actually, you can see he's upset that he hit that branch that's right there. He even made the comments like, when did that branch grow? Because it wasn't there when he practiced earlier.
Right, I think he released a little bit high. So when you're throwing a tomahawk, you're pretty much ignoring the ceiling. And I think a lot of his practice rounds probably, he never really came close to the ceiling.
throws his wizard right up underneath the basket, so he should be saving his 3 from there. Ian also taking a big hyzer run at that. Teloff having to go to a knee to kind of avoid that second tree there. Nearly nicks it, but is able to scoot in another birdie there. Nice job.
Brendan looks back. If his putting turns into that, his drives are so good that he can be in contention here. He's creeping back into that Jeff Andy lead here, where they've kind of created, and then they've just haven't been able to convert on birdies in the last few holes.
Yeah. Marweed with a cool putt there between the trees. He's been, Marweed and I have talked to each other several times, from him being on the channel as many times as he has been. He's always likes that dream of hitting between the two trees. He finally got a chance to do it, so.
Big forehand hole, hole 18, 314 feet. So this one is pretty difficult to lay out flat as much as you can, because you want your forehand to be on hyzer the whole way, but you don't really want it to dump too early, and you don't really want it to stand up. So you need a disc that's the right stability to stay on just a little bit of hyzer for the entire 300 feet. We're also going to see some backhands on this hole. Got to watch Tim Barham on Chase Card here lay out his Buzz SS the entire way.
Yeah.
Very cool shot from him.
A very Tim Barham shot for sure. Marweed holding that line a little far to the left when he got through the gap, ends up hitting a tree, stopping him from skipping towards the basket. He'll have a long look from there.
Lefty almost easier than the forehand just for the stability. You get to throw a slightly less stable disc on a backhand as opposed to a forehand. Not quite cutting off as much as he wanted there, but he's going to put himself just outside circle, maybe 40 feet. He's going to be happy with that drive for sure.
Mm-hmm. Ian with another rock in his hand, leaving this on the inside gap, hits a couple trees, and it's going to kick into that woods in the way on the right there, and he's going to have to scramble to see if he can save his 3 from there.
Yeah, for the forehand, you really want to keep it inside like Ian did and can test the inside route. On the backhand, like Jeff, I'm surprised he's going for here, you want to lay it out wide. Jeff looking mostly good, left it out, didn't quite leave it out wide enough, but...
Yeah, he hit that tree that's right in front of him. He's trying to throw that roller up and around and didn't quite beat that tree. I think if it had beat that tree, he'd been in a really good spot.
That makes more sense for Jeff playing for a roller instead of a large 300-foot Annie.
Yeah, and so he just gets a layup there with a big spike shot, and he should be sitting in a good spot. Ian catching a little foliage, throwing it high. He's going to be on the edge there of the woods for his 3 save.
I believe that's the first polecat missed layup that we've ever seen from Ian in any tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Andy from deep, he made this putt yesterday from even shorter, but not quite coming in. He's confident in that putt, but he's definitely not going to make every one. Ian almost converting from outside circle. He's not going to be happy with that one. Brendan with the surprisingly best drive of the group here, which isn't even that great, to be honest. Completely airballs it with not a great roll away, and he's still going to be out here on his comebacker putt.
Yeah,
not a great feeling.
Yeah, 25 feet from here. And he leaves it out left this time. So the first one was a little too on the am side. That one on the pro side just kind of overcorrects there. As Jeff taps in his par from 15 feet.
Brendan, I really expect to be dangerous in the coming years at the state championships. We've seen a lot of great shots from him, but then just a couple of these putting errors turn into bogeys really, really quickly from him.
Yeah.
But to still be in third place in the state championships is incredible.
Yeah, and he's still within striking distance of second place, and barring anything happening, still has a chance at it because we have 9 holes after this. So, just really impressive that he's been putting himself in these positions as we head to course hole 1, 275 feet, par 3. This one has a Mando. The tree there where that little sign is at is the Mando itself. You try to be to the right of that tree. Try to get into this fairway. You're just trying to find this wood chipped fairway, skip off of that, and try to approach this basket on the left side.
Yeah, definitely a skip shot hole with not the most stable disc. You want to cut off most of the fairway and then have a soft skip up to the fairway. Andy, however, going with the high line. This doesn't play quite as well from the to the basket, but it dodges the Mando better than any of the other plays.
Yeah, and just squares that big tree there. He's going to be short from his upshot there, trying to save a 3.
I like Jeff's disc choice here. That's that rubber DGA disc. So if he kicks a tree here, the disc isn't going to go flying to one side or the other. when those soft rubbery discs hit things, they just kind of doink off them.
Right.
Brendan with the aggressive line, really, really clean looking, gets all the way through the fairway, but can't quite approach the green.
Yeah, it's just I thought that was going to have better ground action and go towards the basket. Just kind of flopped over and didn't skip for that Firebird.
Really comfortable Ian hole.
Yeah, and he also like gets up into the fairway and then hits one of those early trees right past that gap. I thought for sure he was going to be up there in circle, but didn't. Just got a little unlucky again. As Marweed here with his pig gets a couple tree nudges, is right up, next to the basket there.
I mean, this really turns into a get lucky style hole.
Once you get past that first gap.
Yeah, so I mean, you have to have some sort of skill to get into the fairway, and then to penetrate down the fairway, you're just not going to get it every time. Jeff with a real easy putt to convert there.
Yeah, again.
Nice drive from him. Real smart play from Jeff to leave it out wide like that.
Oh, and the unfortunate chain out there from Tetloff on the am side, but I thought that had enough chain in there in order to stay. Ian able to clean up his par. Yeah, Jeff getting another stroke on Marweed there after losing a couple. Marweed just kind of got back into his rhythm, hit a couple birdies, and Jeff's kind of fallen off that birdie train he was on earlier. But within 2 strokes, still very tight race between these two as we head into hole 2, 305-foot par 3. The drone's going to follow the land-based path, which is this very plinko-y, very wooded line. That you'll see a lot of the pros, especially if they're righty, try to take the gap over the water, actually, to try to cut the corner there. Otherwise, you're going to have to follow all these plinko trees up to the basket.
So the righty backhand line is really cool because if you don't make it back all the way up to the green, when you do hit a tree, so we'll see Jeff take this line, you leave it out super, super wide. It flies over water the entire time. Jeff doesn't make it to the water, actually, which isn't that unlucky.
Yeah, he actually squares a tree, and he just thought that was going to be really good, except it just kept it on the land. So he'll have an open look from there to get it over the water for a second shot. But
Andy taking the very technical forehand line.
Yeah, I don't think Marweed just wants to entertain the disc going into the water there. He just...
Well, I think he just also wants to throw a forehand more than any other throw.
Actually, I was really surprised to see Brendan try to throw that forehand over the water. Also hits a tree square. And
okay, here's the line. You go all the way wide and then come back into the basket. So if you miss here, if you miss the Guardians there, you're parked. If you do hit those Guardians trees, your disc came back inbounds already. It came into land to hit a tree trunk because there's no branches over the water. So same thing from Jeff here. If you do hit one of those trees and end up unluckily in the water, you get to take your disc on land right next to the basket for an easy 3.
Jeff doing a nice job, gets himself parked. Brendan actually on the inside of those trees, so barely has to throw over the water. He's going to throw that gator up there. Marweed with a 2 look very contested through several trees. He has to putt around several different things there, and there's actually quite a bit of wind here next to this water. You could kind of see his disc kind of nose up there, get a weird interaction, and just fell off to the left there. Brendan with another low putt, not unable to convert on that par save there. Ian, you could see, like, again, he put that nose down in the wind and just, like, pushed it straight down. I don't think that was a pure miss from him there.
It just wasn't very confident, I don't think.
Yeah, just, like, I think he left it low, trying to fight the wind, and the nose down just kind of plummeted it straight to the ground, and maybe needed to throw that a little harder to contest it, but just he'll have an easy tap in for his par. Jeff trying to also save his par. Does so nicely. Still within 2 strokes. Couple holes left to play for this particular round.
Yeah, unfortunate for Ian finally giving himself a chance to begin to creep back into that. He still has an opportunity, maybe to not contest for the lead, but contest for a higher placement because there are 9 holes after this back 9.
Yeah, but he has to qualify in those top 8 spots, which we'll get to in a minute. Headed into hole 3, 475-foot par 4. They initially had an OB line going on the right side the entire way, and then kind of making it a peninsula almost as you get up to the green. This basket just behind these kind of guardian trees in front of it, but they got rid of the OB, so there is no OB here. You're just trying to rip one out there. Pretty big shot.
Just a monster backhand to be able to get to the pin. Jeff turning his over really, really nicely, getting himself around the trees. but not quite the amount of backhand power to be able to attack the basket. Jeff not really known for his monster backhand power. He's known for his consistency in those long middling distances.
Yeah, there's a little more wind than you can see too. Like you can't quite see it in the trees. There's quite a bit of wind. I thought Marweed left this way too much on hyzer. Ends up flipping it over quite a bit. Puts himself in the gap, and he's gonna have a long, maybe 80-foot look for a 2.
Yeah, Andy kind of a very similar player to Jeff, not known for his monster backhand distances. Really, that flippy Firebird, big hyzer forehands.
Definitely within his. I think it's like the distance.
He can get that, but that's
Yeah,
not his
that's
strongest skill as a disc golfer.
Right.
Ian surprisingly low releasing and not quite biting off his enough distance he wants. Love this play. Huge lefty backhand roller, leaving it on a big cut, and this standing up super, super nicely.
Took forever.
All the way around the pin, and then curling up, just barely beat the pin. So this is 475-foot shot. He threw it about 480 feet, getting himself just inside circle for the 2. Ian with a run from crazy deep.
Yeah, he just trying to float it up there, and it didn't quite make it in there, but it was a good run indeed. Jeff just trying to cut right through it.
Beautiful committed shot. Can't quite get to the pin, but glad that he got all the way out of the woods. That's all he's looking for. Andy from 70?
Yeah, just outside circle 2 here, and
Just cash.
yep, ka-ching. There's a nice eagle from him. Quick crew view for him there. That's a really big putt from him, as he had a 2-stroke lead on Bennett right now, and now he pushes it down up to 4. So all that work Jeff was doing to get himself within 1, almost all gone.
Likely going to be a 3-stroke lead after Jeff's birdie, but Brendan putting himself for the easiest 2 eagle after probably the best drive of the entire tournament. I doubt anyone got, especially as a lefty, to be able to perform that roller is insane. Does convert on his birdie, but he really wanted that too.
Yeah, definitely would have felt good to get him back kind of in the swing of things there as Ian taps in his birdie.
Yeah, pretty easy par 4 as far as getting a 3 because it's twoable.
Yep.
I think we're going to see a lot of 3s and 4s.
Yeah, hole A now, the last hole of this particular round, 300 feet, par 3. We follow this fairway. It's relatively tight around to the right side. Goes downhill the whole way towards this elevated basket. We recorded this right after the event, so they had already started taking off the pyramid there. But elevated basket at the bottom there. You're just trying to get a Firebird or a Destroyer, most likely forehand all the way down there.
Yeah, we're going to see a forehand from Andy. He leaves his inside a little bit, can't quite penetrate the fairway. Firebird again from Bennett, as we're going to see from the 2 of them.
Quick note here, Bennett coming into this round while warming up actually lost his go-to handy 2019 Firebird. So he's throwing a 2018 Firebird in replacement of that.
Slightly less stable.
Yeah, I think it's really similar, but I think it is slightly less stable.
Doesn't have the reps with the exact disc. Not really what you want going into the state championships.
Right.
Especially when you're contesting for the lead here. So he's going to put himself, if Marweed scrambles correctly and Jeff makes his, granted big putt. Little misrelease from Brendan here. But Jeff's going to put himself within 2 strokes going into the final 9 after this back 9. Andy running from deep, though.
Yeah, he's got to do something, make sure that he keeps as many strokes as he can before they go into those last 9 holes.
He's going to be really happy with that 3 conversion. But Jeff has an opportunity to finally strike here. Brendan with a nice layup.
Yeah, that's a smart decision. Just get yourself close and take a 3. If you definitely try to run that, you could leave yourself with a must take 4. And Jeff with a unfortunate miss there. Actually,
we don't see him miss from that distance very often, even on the elevated baskets.
Not very often at all. As Marweed takes that 3.
Really like Brendan's play here, especially when you're struggling putting, to just lay up from deep, to never leave yourself a comebacker. So he's going to take an easy par and keep himself out of bogey range, and he's going to qualify easily for the final 9 in the top 8 here.
Yeah, so speaking of which, the last 9 holes here, the finals, the top 8 players will qualify for that, and so they'll compete for those last 8 spots in order to see where their final placements are. Taking a look here, Marweed with the Eagle there, doing a nice job shooting 4 down on that back 9. Jeff at neg 2, Brendan at neg 1, and Ian with a much better 9 this time at neg 3. But taking a look real quick, Marweed Bennett Williams with the hot round 46 gets himself within 2 strokes of Bennett. And we got a couple new players as well, as we will see these 8 players here get into those final playoffs. We'll be following the lead card though. We'll see how that all plays out. We'll see you guys on the final 9. Thanks for watching, and thanks to our Patreon again. We'll see you then.